I saw Traco's tweet out earlier today, and there are people going at him, but I think he made a good point. And it's just a reality of the salary cap and where the Leafs are. But he said the Leafs losing Brown, Kapanen, and Janssen before the team ever won a round, let alone a championship, hurts them more than some realize. And I think that's a good point. It's not that
it's a very good point.
Like, you had to do this because clearly you're keeping Austin, Mitch, Tavares, Riley. Like, those guys are going to be here, and the other guys are turning in and over. But those are kind of the equivalent of a – Chris Versteeg having to leave and Dave Bolin having to leave and, the really good secondary players in Chicago, but they won the cup and then they left. Mm-hmm. These were all guys. Connor Brown and Janssen were draft picks that were developed by the team, played with the Marlies, made it to the NHL, and basically just had to get shipped out.
And they just couldn't keep them under the cap.
They just couldn't keep them under the cap.
And you're right. Like, could you imagine this team's depth? Is if you had that, let's say the top 5, which includes Hyman, the 4 and Hyman, and then throw in somebody else on left side, and then you had Janssen, Brown, and Kapanen or some form, or maybe
Kapanen still here.
Exactly. Like that's what I'm saying. Like they're all in that $3 million range. If the top isn't so top heavy, there's other teams that have $3.5 million players on their third line.
Right.
That's really when you look through the depth of the National Hockey League. But I thought it was a fair point by Michael Tracos. I don't think he was trolling. I think he was just pointing out the fact that there's some really good players, because Connor Brown's a really good player.
Yeah, he's a good player that had to be kind of thrown into a Zaitsev deal to get the contract off the books.
Right.
That's what happened with Janssen. Janssen was just, you got to go. And I understand it. It's not that I don't think Tracos doesn't understand the way it works with the cap.
He's pointing it out, making a point.
It's the
these
truth.
Guys weren't misses when they drafted them, and they developed as they were supposed to. They just can't fit under a cap that involves the big 4 in Toronto.
Yeah, and you're willing to accept it if you've won a title or won a bunch of rounds, too.
Right.
They haven't won a playoff round, and they've already had to shed a bunch of homegrown, quality young players for very little in return just simply because of the money.
Right.
That's just the reality. That's not some take. It's just the truth.